Joseph, not being aware that God wanted to use them to be parents over him, in the humility of God, always humbling himself, came in as Christ, so that we may have a reconciliation with him, someone that loves someone and willing to give up everything, so that he can be reconciled with his children. And he came as a human, as Christ, through holy and righteous ones. But although they were not aware, but you see that as soon as God made them aware of it, they became obedient. They forsook all their plans they had made, and they fell in line with God's will and plan, which was already been spoken thousands of years before them. Are you, when you discover you are not going according to God's will and plan for you, did you continue with your plan, or did you reverse and come to fall in line with the will and plan God has for you? Don't be mad at me if I had said that I will not wait you or will not do anything, because I have to always make sure that what you are doing is in line with God's will. And if you're unwilling to at least to inquire, to find out, to go through that, then I cannot help you. It will be your choice. But what do we understand from the passage today? We understand from the passage today that God's will and God's plan supersedes every other of our will and plan. To seek the will of God and be obedient to it. To be an example, as we see in Mary and Joseph. And if you know around and you see that a lot of marriages fell apart because the marriages were never conducted in unity with God. The reason why I'm careful about a marriage is because God does not join things that can end up breaking. In the beginning, God created a man and woman. He joined Adam and Eve. But you can see that Adam and Eve, even though God just cursed them for being disobedient to them, they both suffered in their pain and in their suffering. From the man must suffer until in pain in order to bring food to the family and to eat, and the woman must bear the pain of childbearing, labor pain. And they all suffered until they begot two children, Cain and Abel. You did not hear quarrel between two of them. They, both of them in agreement, decided to disobey God, and both of them agreed and suffered it with joy and gladness in their heart, not rebelling against God like some people that like to grieve the Spirit of God, that like to challenge God and want to tell God and even curse God or forget about God. They all together like husband and wife, and we are responsible to bear their pain and their suffering. They took their ownership and responsibility to bear their cross. How are you bearing your own cross as the soldiers? The celebration that we are having about the coming of Christ is a reminder of what it means and what it feels like to be like Christ. Starting from your family and family you establish, and you have a husband and wife that are not together. They don't work together. They are not in unity. Husband and wife that are always fighting and quarreling and fussing and cursing, bringing up their children, not in fear of the Lord. Read the history of Joseph and Mary. The moment that they become aware of the will of God, they become aware of the commands of the Lord and God's plan, they fell in line and truncated their own plans and decided to fulfill the will of God. And as you can see, that it wasn't until the Lord himself joined them together in the response that you read in the book of Matthew today. The virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and they will call him Emmanuel. That was what was prophesied in God's plan in the book of Isaiah chapter 7 from verse 10. He was planning to divorce her quietly. Like a lot of you are this divorce, even right before the marriage is over. You're already talking about divorce. Before even you get into marriage, you already made a plan for divorce. Thought about that too. But here you see, in the word of the Lord, after he considered this, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream and said, Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary home as your wife, because what is conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. She will give birth to a son, and you are to give him. It wasn't until God came to enjoin them together. Joseph was about to divorce Mary. But the moment God came in the picture, the issue of divorce now become cancelled. Now he took his wife in, his beloved wife. You remember, he married her because they had their own plan together. But was about to divorce her. Just like many of you may encounter challenges in your life, and then you run. You forsake your love. You forsake all the things that you have planned together. When you make your own plan by yourself, you bear the consequences too, just like Adam and Eve. But if you are doing the holy and righteous and working in agreement with God by seeking God's will to give you who that wife is, just as he did for Adam. Remember, he brought Eve and took Eve to Adam, and Adam accepted her. Ask for the one that the Lord has brought to you, and once he's accepted you, the woman, then you know the issue of divorce is not gone away. There is nothing like divorce in the Christendom. For better, for worse, until death do you apart. In the book of Galatians in chapter 4, from verse 4 to 7, but when the fullness of the time came, God sent his son, born of a woman, born under the law, so that he might redeem those who were under the law, that we might receive the adoption as sons and daughters. Because you are sons, God has sent the Spirit of his Son into our hearts, crying out, Abba, Father. Therefore you are no longer a slave, but a son. And if a son, then a heir,